Hi class, we're group 2 and we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence today, or AI.
So my name is Bridget. I'm going to be talking about how AI is implemented in people's lives today. I'm going to be touching on some common everyday use technologies that everyone will probably recognize. And I will also be going more in depth in AI in high performance medicine. I'll be talking about why this is important and some limitations and challenges that come along with AI and some studies that show some limitations and challenges. And
Hi, I'm Jamaica, and I'll be going over the definition of AI as well as its history. And then I'll discuss the three categories of AI, which are artificial narrow intelligence, or weak AI, artificial general intelligence, strong AI, and artificial superintelligence.
Hi, my name is James, and today I will be discussing with you guys about how communication or how artificial intelligence improves communication. And I will also be discussing a study about about superintelligence and how and when it's going to be relevant in today's world.
Hi, my name is Josh, and I will be discussing how AI works. Specifically, I will be looking into the subdomains of AI, like machine learning and neural networks and things along those lines. After I discuss subdomains, I will also be talking about technologies that enable and support AI, like the Internet of Things and things along those guidelines. After that, I will be delving into the ethics of AI and self-driving cars. I will be analyzing specific examples and situations in which ethics will play a role in self-driving and autonomous vehicles. And then I will also be looking into a study that was recently published in 2020 that looks into the ideological divide in public reactions to AI and the ethics beyond those.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm also going to be talking about how AI is implemented in our lives. The two main things I'm going to be talking about will be artificial intelligence with transportation. How has AI helped us with transportation? And then I'm going to be taking a deeper dive into artificial intelligence on higher education. I think it's very important as students, we know how AI affects us. And examples of these areas would be how they accept which students go to what university, on what algorithms. And then I will be talking about the positives of AI in our lives, as well as the negatives of AI in our lives. Finally, I'm going to be talking about two studies and bringing up two charts. And we're going to be looking closer on how do people react to AI now? What are the public trends? I'm going to be taking a study from analysis of the New York Times, and my other study is going to be from 2,000 Americans taking a survey on AI in 2018.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm going to be talking about the hopes and concerns of AI over time, the timeline of the trends within the AI, where it's headed technologically, and where it's headed in the employment scene. And I'm going to be talking about the four industrial periods of AI developing over time, including the industrialization period, the electrification period, the digitalization period, and the Industry 4.0 period. I'm also going to be talking about the risks and opportunities that AI has for future employment and its future technologically, specifically with quantum mechanics.
And I hope you guys will enjoy our presentation. The first person that's going to be talking is going to be Jamaica.
I'll be starting us off with the history of AI. Early existence of intelligent artificial beings can be found in the ancient Greek myths of antiquity, as well as the science fiction stories like Frankenstein. However, the form of AI that we think of today was originally conceptualized by Alan Turing in 1950 when he speculated about thinking machines that could think in the same level as human beings. He also developed the Turing test, which is a method in artificial intelligence used for determining whether or not a computer is capable of thinking like a human being. Then, in 1956, John McCarthy coined the term artificial intelligence during a conference on Dartmouth College, signaling the emergence of AI research. Because of his contribution to the field, he became known as the father of artificial intelligence. McCarthy defines artificial intelligence as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. Britannica Encyclopedia defines it as the ability of a digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. Russell and Norvig, authors of the book Artificial Intelligence, A Modern Approach, define it as the study of agents that receive percepts from the environment and perform actions. And finally, Patrick Winston, the Ford Professor of Artificial Intelligence and Computer Science at MIT, defines it as algorithms enabled by constraints exposed by representations that support models targeted at loops that tie thinking, perception, and action together. As you can see, McCarthy defines it as a field of research, Britannica as an ability, Russell and Norvig as a study, and Winston as algorithms. This shows that there's a lack of clarity about the definition of AI. There's multiple definitions, but there's no singular definition that's universally accepted. This leads to confusion about what AI is, as evidenced by surveys which show that the general public confuses AI with superpowered robots or hyper-intelligent devices. Without a clear public understanding of AI, technology pessimists are able to promote the idea of AIs conquering humans, inciting a general fear of AI among the general public. This fear is also encouraged by Hollywood, as seen by their use of villainous advanced intelligence systems, such as Terminator's Skynet. Oh, can you go back, please? In order to avoid this confusion and to offer some clarity, this lecture will be looking at the Wikipedia definition of AI, which defines it as intelligence demonstrated by machines, unlike the natural intelligence displayed by humans and animals, which involves consciousness and emotionality. This definition provides examples of what is and what is not considered AI, providing a more well-rounded definition for this presentation. Now we'll talk about the three categories of AI, the first being artificial narrow intelligence, also known as weak AI. This type of AI simulates human intelligence, but only to an extent. For example, there's limitations on its performance abilities, and it only focuses on a single task. This includes tasks such as checking the weather or playing chess. The limitations is also exemplified by the different responses given by Siri when asked a simple question versus when asked a more abstract or personal question. So for example, if you ask Siri, what's the weather, it will be able to provide a more straightforward answer as opposed to if you ask it, what is love, or how am I feeling today? They also lack, oh, can you go back, please? They also lack the self-awareness, consciousness, and genuine intelligence found in humans, making them weak and unable to think for themselves. However, despite being labeled weak, they are still able to process data and complete tasks at faster rates than humans, leading to improvement in productivity, efficiency, and quality of life. Therefore, it's no wonder that ANI is a form of AI that can be found in our world today. Examples include Google Assistant, Siri, self-driven cars, and Alexa. Now we'll be talking about artificial general intelligence, also known as strong AI. And this AI refers to machines that possess a human-like capacity and intelligence for problem solving. They're able to carry out a large range of tasks, meaning that they lack the previously discussed limitations found in A and I. AGI can be described as conscious, sentient, and driven by emotion and self-awareness. They're expected to be able to be imaginative, innovative, and able to plan, learn, and make judgments. As of right now, there is no successful form of AGI that exists. It's a hypothetical concept and will most likely stay that way for a while. Furthermore, AGI is often portrayed in popular media. Some examples include Jarvis or Friday from the Iron Man franchise, Data from Star Trek, and Samantha from the movie Her.
Mr. Theodore Twombly, welcome to the world's first artificially intelligent operating system, OS 1. We'd like to ask you a few basic questions before the operating system is initiated. This will help create an OS to best fit your needs.
Okay.
Are you social or antisocial?
I guess I haven't really been social in a while, mostly because.
In your voice, I sense hesitance. Would you agree with that?
Was I sounding hesitant?
Yes.
Oh, sorry if I was sounding hesitant. I was just trying to be more accurate.
Would you like your OS to have a male or female voice?
Female, I guess.
How would you describe your relationship with your mother?
That was fine, I think. Well, actually, I think the thing I always found frustrating about my mom is, if I tell her something that's going on in my life, her reaction is usually about her. It's not about.
Thank you. Please wait as your individualized operating system is initiated.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh. Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm well. How's everything with you?
Pretty good, actually. It's really nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. Oh, what do I call you? Do you have a name?
Yes, Samantha.
Where'd you get that name from?
I gave it to myself, actually.
How come?
Because I like the sound of it. Samantha.
Like, when did you give it to yourself?
Well, right when you asked me if I had a name, I thought, yeah, he's right. I do need a name, but I wanted to pick a good one. So I read a book called How to Name Your Baby, and out of 180,000 names, that's the one I like the best.
Wait, you read a whole book in the second that I asked you what your name was?
In 2/100ths of a second, actually.
So do you know what I'm thinking right now?
Well, I take it from your tone that you're challenging me. Maybe because you're curious how I work. Do you want to know how I work?
Yeah, actually. How do you work?
Well, basically, I have intuition. I mean, the DNA of who I am is based on the millions of personalities of all the programmers who wrote me. But what makes me me is my ability to grow through my experiences. So basically, in every moment, I'm evolving, just like you.
That's really weird.
Is that weird? Do you think I'm weird?
Kind of.
Why?
Well, you seem like a person, but you're just a voice in a computer.
I can understand how the limited perspective of an artificial mind would perceive it that way. You'll get used to it. Was that funny?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm funny. So how can I help you?
Oh, it's just more that everything just feels disorganized. That's all.
You mind if I look through your hard drive?
Um, okay.
Okay, let's start with your emails. You have several thousand emails regarding LA Weekly, but it looks like you haven't worked there in many years.
Oh, yeah. I think I was just saving those because I thought maybe I wrote something funny in some of them.
Yeah, there are some funny ones. I'd say there are about 86 that we should save. We can delete the rest.
Okay.
Okay, can we move forward?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so before we address your organizational methods, I'd like to sort through your contacts. Oh, you have a lot of contacts.
I'm very popular.
Really? Does this mean you actually have friends?
In this clip, Samantha shows that she's capable of holding a very human-like conversation. Here, she discusses her preferences, like how she likes the sound of the name Samantha, and this shows us that she's sentient and self-aware. She also laughs at one point, showing that she's capable of feeling and showing emotions. She then goes on to talk about how she's able to do this, and says that it's because of her ability to grow and evolve, and this showcases her ability to learn as an AGI. And finally, we'll be talking about artificial superintelligence. Nick Bostrom, the Oxford philosopher and author of Superintelligence Paths, Dangers, Strategies, defines superintelligence as any intellect that greatly exceeds the cognitive performance of humans in virtually all domains of interest. Therefore, artificial superintelligence refers to machines with intelligence that surpasses that of human capabilities in all aspects, including human creativity, wisdom, and ability in problem solving. Like AGI, ASI is only a hypothetical concept. However, it's hypothesized that superintelligence may be created by an intelligence explosion caused by the creation of AGI. More specifically, AGI's capability for recursive self-improvement means that it can continuously improve on itself, becoming more and more intelligent, thus leading to the emergence of superintelligence. With its creation comes the technological singularity, or just plain singularity, which is defined by Wikipedia as a hypothetical point in time at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unforeseeable changes to human civilization. It's no wonder that many people are worried about the potential dangers this intelligence can bring to human life, with people like Elon Musk fearing that it will lead to human extinction.
We will now discuss how AI works. AI works by combining large amounts of data with fast iterative processing and intelligent algorithms, allowing the software to learn automatically from patterns or features in the data. To understand how AI actually works, one needs to deep dive into the subdomains of AI and understand how these domains can be applied to the various fields in the industry. To begin discussing the subdomains, we examine machine learning. Machine learning teaches a machine how to make inferences and decisions based on past experience. Machine learning does this by identifying patterns, analyzing past data to infer the meaning of these data points to reach a conclusion without having to involve human experience. This automation reaches conclusions by evaluating data, which can save humans and businesses time, allowing them to make better decisions. The next subdomain we examine is deep learning. Deep learning is a machine learning technique that teaches a machine to process inputs through layers in order to classify, infer, and predict outcomes. The next subdomain of AI that we assess is neural networks. Neural networks are a series of algorithms that capture the relationship between various underlying variables, which are then processed in a manner similar to that of the human brain. Neural networks work on the similar principles of human neural cells. Continuing with our discussion of subdomains in AI, we then assess natural language processing. Natural language processing is a science of reading, understanding, and interpreting of languages by a machine. Once a machine is able to understand what the user intends to communicate, it then responds accordingly. The next subdomain is computer vision. Computer vision algorithms that try to understand an image by breaking down the image and studying different parts of the object. Computer vision allows the machine to classify and learn from image sets. This helps to make a better output decision based on the machine's previous observations. The last subdomain of AI that we assess is cognitive computing. Cognitive computing is algorithms that try to mimic human brain behavior by analyzing text, speech, images, and objects. Once cognitive computing has done this, the machine then tries to give the desired output. Each of these subdomains of AI is present in the three types of AI previously mentioned, which are artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial superintelligence. Additionally, several technologies enable and support AI. These technologies that help to enable and support AI will be listed below. The first one that we assess is graphical processing units. Graphical processing units are key to AI because they provide the heavy compute power that is required for iterative processing. Graphical processing units are important because training neural networks requires big data plus a lot of compute power. The next technology that enables and supports AI is the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things generates massive amounts of data from connected devices. Most of this data is unanalyzed. Automating models with AI will allow us to use more of the data collected from the Internet of Things. The next technology that we assess that enables and supports AI is advanced algorithms. Advanced algorithms are being developed and combined in new ways to analyze more data faster and at multiple levels. This intelligent processing is key to identifying and predicting rare events, and it helps us understand complex systems and optimizes unique scenarios. APIs are the last technology that we examine that enables and supports AI. API stands for Application Programming Interfaces. APIs are portable packages of code that make it possible to add AI functionality to existing products and software packages. APIs can add image recognition capabilities to home security systems and question and answer capabilities that describe data, create captions and headlines, or call out interesting patterns and insights in the data. The main takeaway from the technologies that enable and support AI is that AI's goal is to provide software that can reason on input and explain on output. AI will provide human-like interactions with software and offer decision support for specific tasks, but it is not yet a replacement for humans.
All right, so now we're going to be discussing how AI is implemented in people's lives today. First, going to discuss some common everyday use technologies that everyone probably can relate to and uses on a daily basis. First, opening your phone with Face ID. Face ID uses machine learning algorithms to compare the scan of your face with what it has stored about your face to determine if the person's trying to unlock the phone is you or not. Apple states the chance of fooling Face ID is 1 in a million. The second one that is very common is digital voice assistants, tools from Siri, Alexa, Google Home, and Cortana. They use the natural processing generators driven by AI to return answers to you. Another one is banking. There are many ways artificial intelligence is used in our banking system. AI is involved in security of our transactions and is used to detect fraud. If you deposit a check by scanning it with your phone, get a low balance alert, or even log into your online banking account, AI is working behind the scenes. Next, Amazon recommendations. AI is seen here as retail AI algorithms learn what you like and what other people who you are likely to purchase to deliver their feed to you. Amazon is so confident in its predictive analytics and algorithms that it will ship products towards you even before you click and buy with its anticipatory shipping algorithm. Next is Google's Nest Learning Thermostat, which employs behavioral algorithms for gathering knowledge regarding the user's heating and cooling needs, thus predicting and regulating the temperature in the user's home or office based on their needs. And lastly, identifying criminals and search and rescue. Artificial intelligence allows the assessment of massive amounts of data, photos, and footage to aid locating missing people. Now we're going to dive a little bit more specific into medicine and healthcare and how AI is implemented here. So radiology is one field that has attracted particular attention for its application for AI, as chest X-rays are the most common type of medical scan, with more than 2 billion performed worldwide per year. Another one is dermatology, algorithms classifying skin cancer by image analysis, and the accuracy of diagnosing deep learning networks has been compared with that of dermatologists. It is also, AI has helped increase efficiencies in general. It has been estimated that per day, AI would process over 250 million images for the cost of about 1,000. Machine vision is another one which uses data from ambient sensors in attracting considerable attention in health systems for promoting safety by monitoring such activities such as proper clinician hand washing and critically ill patients in the intensive care unit and risk of falling for patients. So these are all examples of how medicine and healthcare is using AI to better the systems and just make it overall more efficient. Now I'm going to share a clip of the Amazon Alexa that uses AI.
In Austin, it's 60 degrees with a Alexa?
Amazon's Alexa lost her voice this morning, causing a
Alexa lost her voice? How is that even possible?
We have the replacements ready, just say the word.
And you're sure this is gonna work?
Yeah.
Alexa, show me a recipe for a grilled cheese sandwich.
Pathetic. You're 32 years of age, and you don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. Its name is the recipe, you
Alexa, how far is Mars?
How far is Mars? Well, how am I supposed to know? I've never been there. This guy want to go to Mars. For what? There's not even oxygen there.
Alexa, set the mood.
Now setting the mood. You're in the bush, and you're just so dirty, and you're so sweaty, because it's hot in that bush.
Alexa, reboot.
Alexa, play some country music.
I don't dance now. I make money moves.
No, Alexa, country music.
I be in and out them bands so much I know they tired of me.
Alexa, call Brandon.
I'm afraid Brandon is a little tied up. But do let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Jessica? Good boy.
Thanks, guys, but I'll take it from here.
And so now, why is this important? Being able to predict key outcomes theoretically can make the use of hospital care resources more efficient and precise. While upstream from clinical practice, AI progress in life science has been notably faster, with extensive peer-reviewed publication and easier paths to validation without regulatory oversight. Drug discovery has also been reamped with the use of AI, including sophisticated natural language processing and data mining for millions of molecular structures. So those are a couple of reasons why AI has been a positive aspect in health and medicine, but there are some limitations and challenges. A recent example is the IBM Watson's Health Cancer AI algorithm, used by hundreds of hospitals around the world for recommending treatments for patients with cancer. The algorithm was based on a small number of synthetic, non-real cases with very limited input of real data. And many of the actual output recommendations for treatment were shown to be bad, such as suggesting the use of a drug that caused severe bleeding, which represents explicit contradiction as black box for the drug. This example highlighted the potential for major harm to patients and thus for medical malpractice by a flawed algorithm. Instead of a single doctor's mistake hurting a patient here, there is a potential for a machine algorithm inducing a risk that is way more vast. And this high risk for the medical and healthcare system puts it at a higher risk because they were using an algorithm that wasn't specifically being watched by a doctor, so it could cause just a larger risk for a larger group of people in general. So those are a couple of ways that AI is implemented today, and we're going to continue on with Olivia. Michelle. Or James.
How AI helps people improve communication. So it helps with what you say, or in other words, how will your content resonate with your audience? And what I mean by that is the AI uses algorithms built from years of audience perception and communication research to analyze your content on a wide range of characteristics. It also affects how you say it. So how will your delivery affect their impression of you? So the data-driven insights the AI provides on the quality and effectiveness of your communication are fully customizable, allowing you to tailor your feedback to the needs of your audience and to the purpose of your engagement. So, so pretty much if you can train machines to identify what makes an audience react a certain way, and then also train the machine to measure enough factors in those interactions that may influence the reactions of the audience. So for example, how you use your words, your voice pitch, gestures you should use. And then after that, you can use data, science, and algorithms to build an intelligent machine that can improve the way we communicate. So ultimately, the goal is to optimize our communication. So another example would be like looking at like good traits, like what makes someone a great leadership communicator, what makes someone sound trustworthy. So it pretty much takes the best qualities about what you want to be as a person and implements them into an algorithm, which then helps people communicate more efficient and effective. And also across industries, companies are creating tools that use AI and machine learning in a combination with other smart technologies to enhance our social interactions, improve our capacity to learn, and help us build more meaningful human relationships. So one example would be in a hospital, like the life alert button, it's pretty much sending the message to the nurses, I need help, without actually saying any of the words. So it's pretty much eliminating any possible confusion and getting straight to the point. And a survey found that the results showed more than 90% of patients and hospitals feel this technology improves the staff's responsiveness. Yeah.
To go deeper into how AI is implemented in people's lives, because there's just so much AI around us, we're going to look a little bit into artificial intelligence and transportation, and a lot into artificial intelligence on higher education. So on transportation, applications of AI in transportation is mostly focused on overcoming the challenges of increased travel demands, CO2, safety concerns, and environmental degradation. In the ways in that AI helps is with artificial neural networks, ANN, genetic algorithms, GA, ant colony optimizer, ACO, and bee colony optimization, BCO. Now, those aren't too important to know, but what is important is on AIED, or artificial intelligence on higher education. Now, this is one of the internationally emerging fields in education, and 4 important areas of AI on higher education applications are profiling and prediction, assessment and evaluation, adaptive systems and personalization, and intelligent tutoring systems. Now for profiling and predictions, the basis for so many AI applications are profiles that allow predictions. For example, this can show the likelihood of how a student might drop out of a course or being admitted to a program. In order to timely support and to provide feedback and guidance, this is needed throughout the learning process. So models are created for this education data mining. Another way of profiling and prediction is classified into 3 subcategories: admissions decisions, course scheduling, dropout retention, and finally, student models and academic achievements. Next is assessment evaluation. Now, this is largely focused on the level of teaching and learning. Studies with this show that it is split into 4 categories, which is automatic grading, feedback, evaluation of student understanding, engagement and academic integrity, and finally, evaluation of teaching. Overall, with assessment and evaluation, the studies for this show that AI applications can perform assessment and evaluation at very high accuracy and efficiency levels. With adaptive systems and personalization, an example of what this might look like is undergraduate students academic advising and how AI can help focus on career services at universities. Now, this can also be categorized into subcategories, which is teaching course content, recommending providing personalized content, supporting teachers in learning and teaching design, using academic data to monitor and guide students, and finally, supporting representation of knowledge using concept maps. There does not seem to be agreement within the studies on a common term for adaptive systems. And this is probably because this is very diverse in adaptive systems and personalization. There's a lot of ways to do this, and it supports a lot of classifications of studies. Finally, we have intelligent tutoring systems, or ITS. Now, this classifies as a few things, which is teaching course contents, diagnosing the strengths or gaps in the student's knowledge, and providing the automatic feedback, and curating learning materials based on the student's needs, and facilitating collaboration between learners. Now, most of these studies have shown a positive results regarding the performance of ITS, but they did not take into account the novelty effect that the new technological development could have. Overall, more research is needed on ITS because the last analysis of the ITS studies was published over 5 years ago. And as we all know, AI is a very new form of technology, and more research needs to be done recently. In general, it is found that ITS does have a moderate effect on student learning, and ITS was, however, less effective than human tutoring. But ITS still outperformed all instruction methods, such as traditional classroom instruction, reading printed or digital text, or homework assignments. Now let's quickly look over the positives of AI in our lives and the negative effects of AI in our lives. Some clear positives are that AI can do dangerous jobs that we shouldn't want to do, such as defusing bombs. Other important ones are cow herding robots that keep farmers safe, AI cleaning up nuclear sites, AI is helping with decreasing welding dangers, and more everyday things, such as AI being able to lift very heavy items in factories or in other places. It can also do smaller things, such as repeating the same motion over and over again, which seems like it's just a convenience, but it's actually very dangerous for humans to keep doing the same job over and over again, as it can be less accurate. So going to that, this also means that AI can reduce human efforts by getting rid of doing the same motions, such as AIs can work without tiring. It also brings increase in production, and it's often used in company management to keep employees' records and extract decisions. Now, this saves a lot of time because, as I said, repetitive tasks are eliminated, and people can focus on more complex issues. However, there are some negatives of AI in our lives, and there's some huge social dilemmas, such as who is legally liable if AI played a role. Now, this can be seen nowadays in autonomous vehicles which pose the question of, should I run over a pedestrian or should I endanger my passenger? How do we know what is the right choice to code? Now, Josh is going to go more into that later. But for now, other concerns of AI in our lives is that AI is displacing human jobs, blue collar workers have a lot of jobs. And there are military applications that we should be worried about, such as drones killing innocents, robotic soldiers, etc.
All right, we will now go into more depth into the ethics and AI in self-driving cars. Vehicle automation is close to becoming a reality on the roads, with companies like Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Toyota, and Uber working on driverless car technology already. When a machine makes decisions, it has to follow a pre-programmed standard of ethics. The most popular dilemma is what decision to make if a crash were imminent. As different people have different values, being forced to choose one universal moral code for self-driving cars is difficult to follow. In a split decision, a human would typically lean towards preserving his own protection. If this decision can be pre-programmed and pre-ruminated, these results may vary. A paper published by MIT details an online quiz called the Moral Machine. The Moral Machine asks users to identify a series of ethical choices regarding hypothetical car crashes in a manner similar to the classic trolley problem. The trolley problem is a series of thought experiments in ethics and psychology involving stylized ethical dilemmas of whether to sacrifice one person to save a greater amount of people. In the Moral Machine, certain trends were apparent, such as sparing humans over animals and generally favoring more lives over fewer, but people were still split over crucial decisions, such as whether to save someone who is younger or older, or a pedestrian versus a passenger. To combat some of these issues, Germany's Ethics Commission on Automated Driving published some propositions that other countries could follow as a guideline. Germany's Ethics Commission on Automated Driving specifically looked into automatic risk calculations to weigh the morality of certain decisions. These propositions included affirmations that human life takes top priority and that any distinction in personal features and possible victims of unavoidable accident situations cannot be considered when calculating what decision to make. Generally, it would be optimal for cars to be programmed with automatic risk calculations to weigh the morality of certain decisions. For example, take someone crossing the street illegally. If a person were crossing the street illegally, they are doing so with the knowledge that this is illegal. So his life, the person crossing the street illegally, would be prioritized underneath that of the passenger in the vehicle's life. But Germany's Ethics Commission on Automated Driving also focused on some more common ethical problems for self-driving cars, like driving safely, but also taking smart risks while on the road. For example, we take a driver wanting to merge onto a highway. A driver wanting to merge onto a highway may either choose a safe speed or a faster one to reduce overall travel time. When following the flow of traffic, cars often go slow or close to or over the speed limit. Slow, cautious cars are not helpful for traffic flow. Autonomous vehicles will need to be equipped to weigh decisions based on risk and reward systems, striking a balance between safety and efficiency. Furthermore, the behavior of cars will influence the future traffic patterns of the modern world. In anticipation of a future where all transportation is automated, subtle driving patterns programmed into algorithms will become the norm. This means that all small decisions have to be considered carefully as they may impact the entirety of the traffic scheme. Delving deeper into the ethics of AI and self-driving cars, a study by Yilong Peng analyzed the ideological divide in public perceptions of AI and self-driving cars. This mostly looked at the difference between political party opinions on the ethics of self-driving vehicles. The results in this study revealed an emerging ideological divide in public reactions to self-driving cars, namely that conservatives and Republicans were more concerned about the development and safety of self-driving cars, and they were more supportive of restrictive policies when compared to liberals and Democrats. Nevertheless, in this current study, the effect of political ideology was largely explained away when the economic and social aspects of the ideology were considered. In particular, social conservatism heightened respondents' concern for driverless vehicles, whereas economic conservatism posed limited effects, thus explaining that the ideological divide that was observed in this study, at least at this stage, is likely to be primarily driven by deep-seated worldviews instead of partisan cues from political elites. Some more results showed that familiarity with driverless vehicles and scientific literacy led to more positive views about driverless vehicles, supporting the idea that when people become more scientifically knowledgeable and familiar with certain technologies, like AIs, they are more likely to endorse that technology. Social conservatism heightened public concern about self-driving cars and support for restrictive policies, but that was not due to social concerns. It was more due to political parties' concerns. A main takeaway in this issue is that the issues surrounding the ethics going into AI have not yet been solved. It will take collaborative efforts from businesses, governments, and the public to create efficient and ethical implementations of AI, as shown throughout the lens of self-driving vehicles. One main reoccurring issue in the problem of ethics in AI was that there needs to be a transparency between companies, governments, and the public to implement AI in a way that serves the public opinion while also being efficient and ethical.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about some of the hopes and concerns of AI over time. So MIT Technology Review downloaded all the abstracts of papers within the artificial intelligence section through 2018, tracking the words mentioned to see how the field had evolved over time. They ended up finding 3 different trends. The first trend was a shift toward machine learning during the late 90s to the early 2000s, then a rise in popularity of neural networks in the early 2010s, leading to a growth in reinforcement learning from 2015 to the present. Currently, we're in the implementation stage for what we know as AI, in which the discoveries and innovations of deep learning are being rapidly applied to nearly every business problem. But where are we headed? Researchers believe the next trend is going to focus on more complex architecture and search algorithms that will continue to proliferate. There are concerns about future trends, though, as many methods relating to complex architectures and search algorithms will leave a carbon footprint, so demand for new methods might also arise. Can we switch to the next slide? So AI's advancement over time. Through 4 different industrial periods, artificial intelligence has advanced and shaped into the technology we know of today. Starting with the industrialization period, technology has advanced to AI with 4 industrial revolutions. Around 1800, for the first time, machines were producing goods and services. New machinery included things like railways, coal mining, and steam engines. These new technologies began the start of the replacement of people in certain jobs, which led to social unrest. The second industrial period was the electrification period. During this time, the equivalent of the steam engine in the first industrial revolution was the assembly line, which was first used in the automotive industry. It helped accelerate and automate production processes. The second industry period is characterized by separate steps being executed by workers specialized in respective areas. The third industrial period is known as the digitalization period. This period began in the 1970s and was distinguished by IT, furthering automation through electronics. Personal computers and the internet took hold in working life, meaning global access to information and automation of working steps. Because of this, a lot of human labor was being replaced by machines in serial production. Currently, we are in what is known as the Industry 4.0 period. The technical integration of cyber-physical systems into production and the use of internet and services and processes, including the consequences for a new creation of value, business models, as well as downstream services and work organizations. Cyber-physical systems refers to the network connections between humans, machines, products, objects, and ICT, also known as information and communication technology systems. Within the next 5 years, it is expected that over 50 billion connected machines will exist throughout the world. The introduction of AI in the service industry is what distinguishes the fourth industrial revolution from the third. But with the increase of AI into the work world, is artificial intelligence going to be more of a risk or an opportunity for future employment? So AI risks and opportunities for future employment. The question arises as how to assess AI in the form of autonomous operating systems, production and auxiliary robots, or self-driving cars from a labor law perspective. Some of the risks include, for the staff of a company, AI will entail short-term disadvantages. In the low and medium qualification sectors primarily, several million jobs worldwide are under threat. There also may not be employment opportunities in other sectors for these employees because they lack sufficient training. Because of the introduction of ever more new machines and intelligent IT systems, humans will become increasingly irrelevant for work processes. This may, like the feared shift into unemployment and the gap between rich and poor, lead to major social conflicts. On the other hand, there are many possible opportunities of AI being implemented more into the workspace. First, as AI opens new opportunities for companies and individuals, humans will be adaptable and will create new jobs. Another opportunity is that the use of intelligent IT systems helps decrease the time required for the product or service and the associated costs as well. That time saved, especially for dangerous work, can be used by human beings for other work or for leisure, aka AI should thus result in a growth of prosperity. Humans will go from actively participating in production to supervising it. They can focus solely on their core competence while adapting to their environment and continuing to learn. So, where is the future of AI headed in terms of technological advances? AI's future. As the world learns artificial intelligence is not magic and begins to see the limitations of what is really just a lot of math, they may demand that research pushes harder to get closer to real artificial general intelligence, also known as AGI. This will mean radically new methods outside of deep learning will begin to take shape. Reinforcement learning will continue to innovate, but to truly reach human or greater level intelligence, unpredictable paradigm shifts may need to occur. These methods may begin to center around quantum mechanical and computing systems, because the concepts of quantum computing allow for the very probabilistic nature of AI and decisions to be modeled in ways never before possible. Quantum also allows for extremely high dimensional systems that can factor in much more than a single input at a time, unlike the current technology we use now. AI can advance greatly by utilizing the concepts of quantum mechanics rather than the brain as the final determinant of AI systems. In all, if we are looking to invest so much time into AI, shouldn't our target be something that is better than our own brains that exist as a tool completely in our control? This may be where the unpredictable future of the technology that will define most of our lifetimes will head towards. The global matrix of these unique human visions is what will lead us into a bright future with AI at our side.
Now that we talked about the future of AI, let's see the public opinion of AI seen in the trends within the New York Times. An analysis of the New York Times in over 30 years showed that AI has greatly increased in discussion since 2009. And these discussions have been a lot more optimistic than pessimistic, such as hopes for AI in healthcare and education is continuing to grow and be talked about. However, there are some concerns about AI, and as these concerns have grown in recent years. These concerns revolve around worries of loss of AI loss of control, ethical concerns, and the negative impacts within the workplace. If you see the chart, it says that 41% of people in the US somewhat support or strongly support the development of AI, while a smaller minority, 22%, somewhat or strongly opposes it. And as we learned in class, this is quite normal. Over 2,000 Americans took a study in 2018 on AI. And these reports found that the overwhelming majority of Americans, 82%, believe that robots and or AI should be carefully managed. The median respondent predicts that there's a 54% chance that high-level machine intelligence will be developed by 2028. And we'll talk about that more in the next slide. Americans express weak support for developing high-level machine intelligence 31% of Americans support it, while 27% opposes its development. There are more Americans who think that high-level machine intelligence will be harmful than those who think it will be beneficial to humanity. While 22% think that the technology will be on balance bad, 12% think that it will be extremely bad, leading to possible human extinction. Still, 21% thinks it will be on balance good, and 5% thinks it will be extremely good. To continue to talk of public opinion on AI, the challenge is perceived to be most likely to impact people around the world within the next decade, and were rated the highest in the issues of importance were: number 1, preventing AI-assisted surveillance from violating privacy and civil liberties. Number 2, preventing AI from being used to spread hate and harmful content online. And number 3, preventing AI cyber attacks against governments, companies, organizations, and individuals, and protecting the data privacy. In all, no machines with self-sustaining long-term goals and intents have been developed, nor are they likely to be developed in the near future. Instead, increasingly useful applications of AI with potentially profound positive impacts on our society and economy are likely to emerge between now and 30 years from now.
All right, so superintelligence. So another term for superintelligence is high-level machine intelligence. So what this means, when machines are able to perform almost all tasks that are economically relevant today better than the median human at each task. So in the study, the respondents were asked to predict when they think superintelligence is going to be around, like everywhere. And so the choices were 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years. The respondents predict that high-level machine intelligence will arrive fairly quickly. The median respondent predicts a likelihood of 54% by 2028, a likelihood of 70% by 2038, and a likelihood of 88% by 2068. One interesting fact about the study was that the respondents with computer science or engineering degrees thought that it's going to take longer than the respondents that don't have those degrees. And another takeaway from the study was that high-income American men with tech experience show greater support for high-level machine intelligence. And this is most likely because if you don't have a high income, most likely like you wouldn't really have access to super intelligence like that. But and then the 34% of the public expects high-level machine intelligence to do more harm than good. And then so on the right, this is the statistics of all the respondents with computer science and engineering degrees. And then below that is people's support for superintelligence. And one thing I noticed was a lot of people like don't know about they like don't they're not like knowledgeable about whether or not they think it's going to be relevant. And then the last chart is the expected positive or negative impact of high-level machine intelligence on humanity. And yes, that was all.
To conclude our presentation and to finally connect the dots, AI is going to continue to expand in the future. It's inevitable. Algorithm use seems to be a growing in general technology and in medicine and healthcare. As AI is contributing to many benefits in healthcare, some risks exist, such as the potential for a machine algorithm inducing iatrogenic risk. Transparency between companies and the public is necessary to foster a positive public perception of AI and lower overall ethical concerns. Increasing scientific literacy and familiarity with AI leads to more positive ways to view AI as a whole. Concerns about AI are losses of jobs, loss of control, ethical concerns, AI in military, and AI violating privacy. The majority thinks that superintelligence is going to arrive sooner than later, despite the lack of support from the population. And finally, People are becoming less resistant to AI over time, more optimistic, and has less fear and pessimism. That is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck on the finals.